Good morning and welcome back to My Life's Toil with me, Neil. All about my journey with Mounjaro and up and coming Wegovy for maintenance, which I don't know what I'm going to do about that still because I still haven't started the pen. I'm still using my Mounjaro as and when needed. And I will be jabbing today, so more about that in a little bit. It's because I've reached my target weight, having been quite heavy, as you'll see in the earlier videos if you've been following the channels, to reaching my goal, which was 91 kilos, which I reached a few weeks back, and then went literally cold turkey for a few weeks to see how I get on without the Mounjaro in my system, but having the backup of having the Mounjaro still in the fridge. So having a few weeks off, I have sort of started right at the bottom rung of the ladder again. I haven't just gone back up to the dose I was on, just because I was concerned of how my body would receive it, really, and the fact that I'd been a few weeks without it. So I went back to 2.5s as and when, and it worked fairly well. I managed to use willpower for a couple of weeks, as we did discuss, but also it did the food and I sort of kicked back in, and I went and put I went up another couple of kilos at the highest, but I have weighed in today and I'm back down to 91 kilos again this week, which was my target weight. So I am still at target weight. And I always said that I would give myself this little bit of a buffer. So I'm around in stones. In the UK here, we use stones and pounds still quite a lot, although kilos is still quite big now. And I always said that I'd try and maintain around the 14 and a half, even 15 stone for me, I'd be happy with. And winter here will be the big test for a lot of people where, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, the dull, dark nights come in and we just want to pig out. I think it's just natural for us to want to put this little bit of weight back on, isn't it? But I'm going to do my best. But I do want to go through a couple of the comments as well. And also, I'll be drawing the competition for my ghost book, my ghost stories book, which I mentioned in the last video. So thanks for the support around that. And I know some people went out and brought it as well themselves anyway. It's on Amazon, so I appreciate that. A handful of people. And let me know what you think of it. I'd be pleased with that. But back onto the comments regarding the Mounjaro. There've been a few things that people have been asking about regarding and the sort of things that we have covered, but early on in the journey, people asking about what sort of things that I eat. And early in the journey, when people were asking me that, it was all, oh yeah, low fat this, low fat that, and high protein this, high protein that, really watching this. But that has sort of gone out of the window a little bit, really. And what I tend to tell people now is it's a well balanced diet. I have naturally, and without really planning to, I've naturally started to fast during the day. Now, this isn't every day. Some days I literally will, I don't want to say the word pig out, but I will eat a lot more and go over what my target range is for the calories. But during the whole week, that sort of balances out. And I tend to go more for that because it works really well for me. So when I was trying to lose the weight, my target calories for me were 1,800 calories a day, which right at the height of using the Mounjaro, I struggled at times to actually meet that calorific intake. But recently, I've been eating more. Apparently, I should be, and you can work this out. I've got one of these little gadgets that Ian sent to me that tells you what calories you need to maintain the weight that you are. And at the moment, mine is somewhere between 1,900 and 2,000 calories a day to maintain my weight that it is. And that's quite low for a man usually, isn't it? Especially I'm 6'4" and used to be 20 odd stone, but now around 14 stone. So, yeah, yesterday I had some food at work. There was a meeting on, so there was some sandwiches, and I just eat basic stuff. But normally during the day, I don't tend to feel very hungry anyway, and get my calories in on the night time. Not all about getting just protein in. It is quite a varied diet. So those people that think that they need to eat specific foods. To a certain extent, some people do, and I understand that. But for me, it's just a bit of everything. I don't worry too much about low fat stuff because all the latest research is still up in the air about saturated fats and stuff like that. I'm just old school, so I steer away from them anyway, especially the fact that I'm trying to bring my cholesterol down. The blood pressure came down with the plan brilliantly, but my cholesterol, which is still yet to be retested, has been a bit slow to respond. Another comment that came in was from Tracy. She says, "Hi Neil, a really good idea for a video would be what I can do now that I couldn't do before." And she puts, "I can lay in the bath without touching the sides. I can put my socks on by bending my legs in front of me now instead of from putting my leg out sideways. I can reach further around my back. My knees feel better when I crouch. It's bizarre what you all of a sudden can do, then realize you haven't been able to do for ages. How about you?" Now, that's a really good one because, yes, there's certainly something. One of the things is we have a table in here. This is our kitchen. And one of the things I've noticed, I always used to just knock the table over when I used to walk through, just barge into things. I can actually get through much smaller gaps without even touching the sides now. So the bathing, definitely. Um, Notice my joints since losing the weight and being on Mounjaro in general are much better, especially my knees. Hence why I've been considering starting to do some very gentle running as well. But one of the big ones, and this is a massive bone of contention between me and the wife, is that sometimes when I relax at home, I put my leg up, like cross my legs basically, and my legs have gone that much skinnier now. She doesn't like the way my legs sit, and this is going to sound weird, but she said, "You look weird when you cross your legs like that," because my legs just go, it looks almost feminine, which I hope I don't offend anyone by saying that. And she said, "Don't sit like that." And I'm like what?" She said, "Like that. It's strange. I've never seen your legs like that." And she thinks my legs have gone too skinny as well, which they have a little bit, but I'm just enjoying it while I can because having this weight go, and that's the other thing. Again, people at work, "Oh, you've lost enough now. Don't lose anymore." And I'm like, I'm not losing anymore. I am like maintaining where I am. "Yeah, well, just stay where you are." And it's like they're concerned for me for being healthier. You can't win if you're too heavy. You can't win if you're too, well, not too skinny. I don't think. My gadget from Ian tells me I'm still overweight. I don't think I am. I'm going by the NHS calculators that we have access to over here, which are a little bit dated, but I am happy with my weight now. What I am considering though is, if you remember, if you've been following the channel, I was during the summer months, and it's really difficult now because someone else has asked. It's from Admash, and it's saying congrats. And he was new to the channel, he or she. "I haven't watched all your journey, but are you also including exercise in the plan?" And Admash, I was, and I'm going to be totally 100% honest with you right now, heavily so early on. I started off back in February, March, April, May. I joined the gym. That petered out. I just really felt uncomfortable at the gym being a bigger guy. I don't know why. A lot of people feel the same. So I ended up doing my exercises out on my deck. I have a little setup, and there are some videos where you'll see this. And I did all my exercises 3 times a week, basically dumbbell exercises with a fold up weight bench. And it was brilliant. And I really, really enjoyed it. But since the summer's gone and the autumn set in, and even maybe just before that, it's been really, really difficult to do that. So I haven't exercised in a couple of months, easy. And there are a lot of people that are doing really well the exercises. There's a lot of people that watch the channel that can't exercise because of health constraints and things like that. But, and this is a big turnaround, I'm really heavily thinking about going back to the gym again. I guess I feel a little bit more confident now about how I look. I actually thought to myself the other day, in certain, I mean, people are saying my arms have gone really skinny. Do my arms look really skinny? Because they used to be really quite chubby. Um, I don't think they're too skinny, but I'm getting vain, and that's one thing I never thought I would be. I might seem I'm not vain at all, but just to shape up a little bit. And the thing is, if you remember, the warning is when you lose weight with any diet really, but especially around Mounjaro where people can lose it quickly, and Wegovy as well, which we are touching upon because I will be maintaining with Wegovy, which we'll talk about at some point, is that it's not just fat that you'll lose. Yes, you'll have fluctuations with fluid retention, which I had a little bit of, and people kindly pointed that out to me on the comments as well. When I come off the Mounjaro, your body will adapt differently and you maintain some fluidity around the body in certain areas. And that seems to have come and gone. But also, you'll lose muscle mass when you lose a lot of weight, which is why the advice will always be to do some sort of resistance training where you can, doing what you can. And that's why I did a few videos in the past of just some very basic dumbbell exercises. I brought some really cheap and cheerful stuff. There was a folding weights bench, and I can put the links in if you want to, but you don't need to follow the links, and you don't need to get them. But even tin cans, just some sort of resistance. So cheap dumbbells, folding bench. I've got myself a little garden ottoman thing, a plastic thing that stores. It's waterproof, so it goes out there. And I always said the test will be when the winter comes, and it looks like I've failed that test. But if I can get a deal at the gym again, and I stopped the gym because I stopped going and I was paying that money. And within a couple of months, what I saved on the gym paid for my exercise equipment. And you've always got that. And I definitely will go back to that when it gets nicer out there. My garden just gets neglected this time of the year. I hardly go out there. Only the dogs go out there, and then we go clear up after them, which you don't need to know about. This was something that resonated with me from Sinbadio Moore. Dairy milk tastes like crap after I've had the jab. Tastes like cheap chocolate nowadays. Before the jab, I just eat it because of the name. Yeah, I get that totally. But this is a really interesting point because somebody else mentioned, and I wanted to find this comment about the taste changes again. I just can't. Honestly, I'm rubbish at running the channel. I try and answer as many comments as can. So I'll always try and give them a like at least, and then read and reply if I've got time. And sometimes I like to go back to them because they'll come up on my phone, and then I just lose them. So apologies for that, but I do try and read all of them, and I think I do. But somebody had mentioned about the taste changes because I did a little video on it the other week about scientists finding that people have noticed either sweet tasting, really excessive sweet tasting, and also saltier tasting when using GLP-1s, whether that be such as Mounjaro and again Wegovy. And since when I had my little break a few weeks back, and I've only sort of microdosed sort of ad hoc when I feel the suppression's waning a little bit, my taste has just gone bizarre. And it's got troublesome in sort of in a small way. It's always, I've got this, I hate mentioning the word COVID, but I don't know if many people out there had that taste change, that metallic taste when we had COVID. And I had that, but it didn't last that long. But this has been lasting for weeks now. Even when it came on when I had the break and then went back to the smaller dose, and it was almost like starting the whole thing again. And this taste came on. I don't enjoy coffee. I don't enjoy tea anymore. Even drinking my trusted cans of pop tastes, how would I describe it? Nothing tastes the same anymore. It's almost like it's enhanced the flavor, but in a really sort of artificial way. That's the way to explain it. Everything tastes artificial. And even when I'm not eating or drinking anything, I've got this, it's almost like I can taste my saliva and it's like salty sweetness. Anyone else had that? It's a bizarre one, but I thought that was an interesting thing because yes, on the days, I remember I mentioned last week, Rachel had brought me some dairy milk, which I really managed to enjoy a treat on the Thursday night going back. but I shared the rest of it out. Didn't really enjoy it. It was just like eating it for the sake of it. So I think there's a big thing to be said about that. It's about changing these bad habits, isn't it? And that's something that I mentioned all the way through the journey. It's about think now about what you're going to do at the end. And if you're not enjoying your food, try and program the mind, I think, to just tell yourself that it's all a bad habit and you don't need that. That said, I'm a hypocrite because I still ate the dairy milk, and it was literally just for the sake of it. I didn't sit there and think, oh my God, this is great. Oh, I've really missed this, because I just didn't. Um, I see food more now about, I see more for the calories and what I need. And sometimes on days where I've had a lot of suppression from the food knives, with the food knives going, I'm sort of telling myself I'm nowhere near my calories today and I need to get something in me. Whereas other days, it's like I'm a different person again. It's like a bit of the old me. And a little bit like that yesterday, but really well controlled, which is why I'm going to jab today. And it'll only be a small, basic jab again, 2.5. Um, but there's something else. I'm going to do a separate video about something else, about somebody else in the household here. And people, again, if you've been watching, following from the start, you'll know who I've got. I've got Rachel and the 2 kids that live at home, and there's someone else in the household that's starting on the jabs that I really want to talk about. And I'm going to do this separately, still on the channel, because it may be a bit of a contentious sort of point with some people, but have a look out for that if you're interested. But yeah, the taste change thing, that is quite a big one indeed. Talking about the changes in taste and things, an important message I had this week, I thought, was, if you remember Mylena that we did the interview for, she talked about her journey on Mounjaro around menopause and perimenopause, which I thought was really quite valuable information. So if you're having any issues around that, or if you've got any concerns, have a look at that video. I'll try and put a link up for that if I find out how to do it again. But she wanted to talk about unusual side effects also, not just the taste changes, because that's been the big one for me. But I'm going to read straight from what she says here. She ended up in A&E because she had a tingling on the right side of her face and her fingers, and ended up in A&E because she was worried that it may have been a cardiovascular event like a stroke. They did some tests and found out her sodium levels were a bit low, which were a possibility as to why this was happening, and why some of the symptoms may have appeared. And she said that she's also done some research on this, and she's wondering whether it'd be beneficial for people to talk about this on the channel. And yeah, I think that'd be really good, because I'm finding a lot of people having unusual sort of side effects. Like with me, it's the taste changes, which isn't that unusual. We're hearing a lot of that. But these tingling sensations are a big one. All the usual side effects like your diarrheas, your nauseas, your vomitings. I've just had a look on here today, and overnight I've had a comment. Someone's having stomach cramps, diarrhea, and their heart rate's gone up. That is something that definitely needs checking. It could be a bug. One of the things that I've noticed, I pick tummy bugs up really, really easy now, and it's almost like a monthly thing. It really is like unusual. So much so that I'm just powering on through them. I never used to get tummy bugs, not since I was a kid, but since I've lost a load of weight. The other thing I've noticed is my back plays up a lot more. It almost feels like now the padding's gone, it doesn't mask the pain as well, and it doesn't give me that support. So I only have to walk. I mean, I'm going to the football later and don't want to stop. Don't turn off, it won't be for long. But there's a lot of walking involved between train stations and the ground and things like that with my son Ben. And it's not always just my lower back pain where I had the surgery years ago. I get upper back pain. Don't worry, I don't get chest pain. It's not a cardiovascular, but it's a muscular pain right in the middle of my back just from walking. And I've tried to adjust because I've, over the years, being quite tall, and posture was always quite poor. And I always try and, I even brought one of those. Have you seen those shoulder braces that sort of put your shoulders back like this, and you walk around like, Captain Marvel or whatever his name is, and it doesn't help. So yeah, it'd be interesting to know. Put some comments in about any unusual or worrying side effects that you've had that aren't the norm. Be really interesting to know, and we can share that with the community, and people can read them and comment as well. Good point, Marlene. It was nice to hear from you. The other thing I mentioned last week was that I'm with Checkup, and I've referred quite a few people on. Um, Quite a few people actually, and it's good for both of us. If you're looking at changing supplier, or if you're looking, you can get £50 off here in the UK. I can refer you. I'm at the stage now. I can only actually claim 2 referrals back a month, but it's not about the money for me. So I've referred loads of people, and I won't get any benefit from it, but you will if you want it. All you need to do is send your email to me, and send it to my own email, which is on the front of the YouTube bump stuff, or message it through to me on Facebook Messenger, and I will literally just send it off to Checkup, and they will email you with what they can do for you. And I'm happy to do that. So I can only claim 2 benefits a month on my pen, which is great, which is nice for me, and it's a nice position to be in. But if it can help you as well, I'm more than willing to do it. It only takes me a couple of seconds to do that. Might not do it straight away, but I will do it for you. Now, I've got no progress pics to show you this week. I usually get an abundance of them, and I think I've included all of them in. But if you want to share how things have gone on your Wegovy or Mounjaro journey, or if you just want to show people that you've done it without using these medications and for some reason you follow the channel, I'll be more than happy to do it. I think it is quite impressive to be able to show how far you've come. And I used to show mine, and I'll have to do another one. But I think that most people that have been on here a little while have seen how my journey's gone. You saw me when I was like this, my first video, to now where I feel so much better in myself, and it's all about the medical side of it for me. My blood pressure's where it needs to be. Like I say, my cholesterol is improving a little. It needs checking, but feeling good and looking better and feeling younger is the added bonus, isn't it? So if you've done the same, or if you're on your journey and you want to show me up to date how it's going, doesn't have to be at the end of the journey, and you think that why not show it off? I think it's a great idea to do that. It's good for you, and it's good for us out here, because it keeps us all on the same path. And that's what this channel, My Life's Toil, really is all about. It's about supporting each other and sharing that little bit of positivity, keeping people on the same keel, really. And because I'm sort of coining this phrase, you're helping me when I help you. So that's what it's all about. So it's a relatively, I think it's quite a short one this week, but I will be doing the little thing about what I was mentioning about someone else in the household having their starting the jabs as well. They've had their second one. We'll talk a little bit about that, because I think that's quite an interesting point, like I say. But that's it. So I'm away from Monday to Friday next week. So I should be back for the weekend to see how things go. I'm only going back down to Bream, to the seaside with family. So we'll see how the plan goes while I'm down there. I will be jabbing today, but not during the week like I sometimes do. See how it goes. Anyway, have a good week. We'll, over the weekend, pick a winner or maybe some winners for the ghost story book. If you do, in the meantime, want to get some in, I said I'd run it for a week, so we'll run it right up until tomorrow morning, and we'll draw some winners out for the ghost story book, which is that little book I wrote about true ghost stories a couple of years ago. I can't remember when I did it, during COVID, wasn't it? So if you want to still, it's going to close tomorrow morning if you want to have a go. But apart from that, have a good week. Stay on plan. Drop your comments in, and we'll speak soon. Take care.